The name of this segment is Terminal Certainty. You know, I've talked about terminal more before. Terminal more is a condition I seem to suffer from, that if a little is good, a lot more is better. It applies to a lot of my life. I remember the psychologist once telling me, "Jim, you don't have drive, you're driven." And he was right. I was driven to get more, always more. Nothing was enough. And what I came to realize was that was a spiritual malady. It was a sickness. It was a problem that I had, that I couldn't just be content with what I had. I was constantly striving for more. And so, as I've recognized this over the years, I've learned once you recognize something, you can deal with it. You can say, "Jim, this is good enough." Those are magic words. I'll never forget reading those words in Gail Sheehy's book. Good enough. That was magic to me. And those words, good enough, were sufficient to help me deal with my terminal more. But I have another condition that's called terminal certainty. What I've come to find out, that anytime I think I have all the answers, that I have all knowledge, I know I've got a problem. And yet, I know in the past, this terminal certainty would close my mind to listening to other people because I knew better. I, the great all-knowing judge. Well, it's just not true. My scientific friends say there is no such thing as certainty. Matter of fact, as you know, there's a whole principle called the uncertainty principle. Everything in life is a matter of probabilities, not certainty. Well, I thought that was a scientific principle, but I found out that it's also a spiritual principle for me. It's a spiritual principle because what it reminds me is that any time I feel certain, then I think I have to question myself. I have to look and see what is it that's closing me to other information, to other facts, to other input, and being willing to be open to those and to consider them. Everything in life is probabilities. That's what they say. And it's like the probability is that the sun will come up, in the east tomorrow morning. And it's a very high probability, but it's not a certainty. The sun could get destroyed. We could get hit by a large meteor and throw the earth off. There's things that could happen. Are they likely to happen? No, but they could happen. So that everything is a matter of probability. That's what I've got to understand. So what is this thing that sticks with me about certainty? Well, I think it's something called belief. Well, belief is not the same as certainty. Belief is something that I believe to be true. Believe to be true because I have past experience, I have information, I have something that has led me to believe that is the case. Okay? But that is my belief based on my experience, based on my intuition, based on where I am. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not about facts. It's about my perception of facts. And whenever perception comes into the picture, there's room for doubt. It's not, there's all kinds of historical philosophy about the allegory of the cave and just all kinds of people, great thinkers in life, that have recognized that what we consider to be reality is our perception of reality, and not necessarily what reality is. So whenever I find myself being certain of anything, I have to look at myself and say, what is going on here, Jim? Okay, what is it about your life, your experience, that causes you to believe this. Now, let me go ahead and say that I have certain beliefs that are very strong and which guide my behavior. I believe there is a God. I believe that God has certain characteristics that He has been able to and is able to reach into my life and the life of anything else in this world, not only to create that life, but to direct that life if we are open to that force that I choose to call God. So, I believe that. I really do. And you've heard, if you've listened to my tapes very long, you know that I believe that. But you also know that because I believe it, it doesn't mean that I'm trying to get you. That's up to you. That's up to each individual to look at their life and their experience. I am not here to try to defend God. God doesn't need me to defend Him. Okay? I am not here to convince you about God. God doesn't need me to convince you about Him. Okay? That's up to you. And so my spiritual journey has been one of understanding what my beliefs are. And and it's really important that I do that. Because when I look at my beliefs, I have to then look at my behavior and say, does my behavior reflect my beliefs? Last week, or earlier this week actually, was the feast day of St. John of the Cross. And so I was reading about St. John of the Cross, and it was really great. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't know much about him, so I Googled him. But let me read you what he says. St. John of the Cross says, "The soul that is in love with God is a gentle, humble, and patient soul." Oh, that really hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, God, if I could just be gentle, humble, and patient. When I say those words, a sense of peace comes over me, a tranquility, just a tremendous sense of well-being. And so, to me, that's the behavior that I strive for. Now, am I gentle, patient? Am I all those things? I'm afraid not. Not always. Sometimes, yes, but not always. But because I'm not that way doesn't mean that I don't strive to be that way. And so when I look at St. John of the Cross or any other, when I think of Jesus, those are the words that describe Jesus to me. Gosh, He must have been infinitely patient, to tell us and show us so many times what He wants us to do and why He came, and yet we still didn't get the message. We had our own belief of what we wanted Him to be and what we wanted Him to do. But He persisted right to death. Okay, He was patient, humble. Oh, if I could be like Jesus, right? So anyway, what happens when I'm not like that, when I believe one thing and do another, we have a condition called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance means that my behavior and my beliefs don't match. Okay? Now, if I engage in cognitive dissonance enough, something's going to change. Either my beliefs will change, okay, to reflect my behavior, or my behavior will change to reflect my beliefs. You've heard the saying, fake it till you make it. That's what it means. Okay? If you want to be patient, then fake it. Okay? When you feel angry and upset and irritable and so forth, and you want to snap at somebody, fake being patient. That's all. Just fake it, And if you fake it long enough and enough times, guess what? You'll learn how to be patient. I do anyway. Always? No. Sometimes? Yes. And sometimes right now it's got to be good enough. So I hope these thoughts are good for you and useful to you, they just looking about them and thinking about them is good for me. My spiritual journey is long. It's not simple. It requires time and reflection and meditation. It requires staying in touch with God and the Holy Spirit. But with His grace, I will grow and I will change and I will become the person I want to be. Thank you so much for listening. Talk to you later. Bye now.